This is the Easy Betting Show. My name is Easy, and we're back talking NFL Week 3 picks. Should be a great week for football. I'm going to do it a little bit differently for this one than I have in prior weeks. In the last couple weeks, I've just kind of put out everything that I like, and it's been like 20 plays, and it's just a lot. And I've realized that a bunch of people can't really put in that many plays or don't want to put in that many plays. So I've kind of narrowed it down. What I'm going to do, at least for now, and potentially through the rest of the season, but we'll kind of see. But as of right now, I'm going to stick with 12 units. And I'm going to give my best bets for player props and anytime touchdowns as well within those 12 units. That way everybody can follow along and can tail, and not break up too much of their bankroll. So my player props and anytime touchdowns will be a part of the 12 units. And then I'm going to have some parlays at the end like I always do that will not be a part of the 12 units. I'll still track them, but it will bump it up just a little bit. So just wanted to throw that out first to make sure everybody was on the same page with me and how I'm going to be doing things. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into it because I know we have college football in about 20 minutes and I want to be done by then. So going to go through the player props that I like the most for this Sunday. This is not including the Sunday night football game. I will be doing the Sunday night football and Monday night football games probably tomorrow morning before the college games start. So look out for that. First pick that I like for this week is another one that is from last week that hit, and that is Chris Godwin over 65.5 receiving yards. That's minus 108. So I'm going to put 1.1 unit on that one. He's gone over this number in both games so far this year. He went well over and over 100 yards last week against the Lions, which sucked, but whatever. I think defenses are trying to stop Mike Evans. And because of that, I think Chris Godwin's kind of become the down the field guy, especially the third down guy. Baker loves going to him on third down. So I think he's going to be the key guy in drives to get the majority of the yardage, whereas Mike Evans is going to get the touchdowns. Kind of like what happened in week 1 and attempted week 2, even though Mike Evans didn't score. And on top of that, the Broncos let Tyler Lockett go for 77 yards on 7 catches in week 1. I see Godwin having a similar game to that here. They didn't really do much in week 2, but that's because they were playing the Steelers and Justin Fields just doesn't really throw the ball that much. At least he hasn't yet. So one that I really like. The next one that I like is Rashid Shaheed over 49.5 receiving yards, minus 113. So 1.2 units on that one. He's cleared this in both games they've played, but he's also had 1 reception in both games they've played that has cleared this number by themselves. So he's getting the deep bombs in every game so far. That should continue that process there. He's also led the team in targets through 2 games. And on top of that, the Eagles haven't shown that they can stop receivers down the field in either game they've played. So Shaheed should be another focal point of this offense in this game. And then on top of that, I think the Eagles defense will probably try to shut down Alvin Kamara after the week he had last week. I mean, everybody was talking about him. He went absolutely nuts. The Eagles will probably try to focus on him at least as much as they can to stop him, which could open up the passing game and Shaheed specifically. The third one that I have that I like is Brock Bowers over 47.5 receiving yards. Here's another guy that's cleared this in both games that he's played. He almost hit 100 yards last game. He had 98. He's second on the team in targets behind Davante Adams, which obviously Davante Adams is first. But as a rookie tight end, to be second is, really good. He's kind of having like a Laporta kind of start to the season. And against the Panthers team that gives up yards to everyone, but especially tight ends, I don't think he slows down this week either. So 47.5 just seems too low for Bowers. And I also think he's got a good shot at first career touchdown this week too. So be on the lookout for that as well. Next one is Kyler Murray over 31.5 rushing yards, minus 113, 1.2 units on this one. It's against my Lions, so Obviously I really have to like it if I'm giving out plays that hurt my team. But he's rushed for 59 and 57 yards, respectively, in his first 2 games of the season. And now he goes up against the Lions team that is built for the QB to run against them. Last week, Baker covered this line against the Lions, and Kyler is much better at running the ball than Baker is. So if Baker can do it, you would think Kyler would easily be able to do it. And on top of the defense just not being built for running quarterbacks, Lions also get a lot of pressure against quarterbacks. So Kyler will probably have to make some plays running the ball to get out of sacks, which could even further get his rushing yards. This is one that I would potentially ladder. I think the 31.5 is going to be an easy cash. I think this could potentially go up to like 80 because I don't think we're built to stop Kyler Murray on the ground. And I think a lot of their drives are going to consist of Kyler Murray running down the field. The next one that I like in the same game here is Jahmyr Gibbs over 22.5 receiving yards, also minus 113, also 1.2 units. I'm going back to this again. I know I have every game. I know he hooked us last week, but he covered in week 1, and I think he has an even better look at it in this game than he did in the other 2. The Cardinals have given up 27 and 32 receiving yards to running backs in their first 2 games, and Jahmyr Gibbs is a focal point of this passing game for the Lions. So if the Cardinals are giving up, more than this against teams that don't really throw to the running back that much, Jahmyr should easily be able to cover this line. And then on top of that, the Lions offense was very stagnant for a lot of the game last week. So I think that probably changes and we don't see that 2 weeks in a row. And Gibbs is probably a big part of that. I think Jameson Williams has a big game too. So if you're looking for another bet for that game, Jameson Williams yards is another one that I really like. I have 2 more player props. The next one that I'm going to talk about is Lamar Jackson over 53.5 rushing yards, minus 113. So 1.2 units on that one also. I debated going between Lamar's rushing yards and Zay Flowers' receiving yards. I think both of them probably hit. But just with Lamar coming off of a bad loss, he's probably going to come into this one pissed and looking to make things happen. And for him, making things happen typically is on the ground. He had 5 rushes for 45 yards last week, but that was a really ugly game for the Ravens. He had over 100 yards in week 1, and I think this one's probably closer to week 1 than it is to last week. So, and the Cowboys defense isn't very good at stopping running quarterbacks either. They let Deshaun Watson run 5 times for 39 yards in week 1. So I think this is a prime spot for running Lamar. And then the last player prop that I have, Jawan Jennings, longest reception over 20.5 yards. That's minus 114. So I have 1.2 units on that one. He's had a catch over this in both games so far. And with Debo banged up, he'll probably see a couple more targets downfield. On top of that, the Rams have given up a shit ton of passes for 20 plus yards. Marvin Harrison had multiple last week. Michael Wilson grabbed one last week. Jameson Williams in week 1 had multiple. So it's easy to take the top off of this Rams defense, and I think Jawan Jennings will be the guy to do it. Now, moving into my anytime touchdowns for this week. The first one that I like is Derrick Henry. He's minus 115, so I have 1.2 units on that. The Cowboys let Kamara go crazy last week, so I think Henry can easily get 1 in this game, if not 2. I just think it's a prime spot for Derrick Henry to Lamar kind of run down the field, make things happen down the field, and then Derrick Henry stick one in. The next one that I have that I've already mentioned, Brock Bowers, plus 240, so 0.5 units on that one. Again, I think this is going to be a good game for Brock Bowers. He's had a great start to the season. I think this is the game where he can find the end zone for his first career touchdown. The next one is Rachaad White, plus 105, so 1 unit on that. He didn't score last week, but against this Broncos defense that isn't great against the run, I think he's got a good shot of getting in. I don't know how much he actually runs for in this game because he hasn't really had a great start to the season. He's actually been kind of he's gotten more rush attempts, but he hasn't had more yards than the backup, whose name I cannot remember right now to save my life. Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving's had more yards than Rachaad White in both games so far, which is kind of nuts considering he's had half the rushing attempts that Rachaad White has. But that being said, when they get down inside the 5 or inside the 10, it's probably going to be Rachaad White to get those red zone looks to get in the end zone. And then the last anytime touchdown that I have is Rashid Shaheed plus 180, 1 unit. He scored in both games so far. I think he's going to have another solid game this week. And the Eagles give up a lot of passing touchdowns. So Shaheed is probably going to be the guy to get multiple looks. If it's not a deep pass, it could still be in the red zone. That's it for my plays. I have a couple of parlays that I'm going to throw out real quick as well. The first one is my touchdown parlay. We hit this on week 1. We didn't get it last week, so hopefully we can turn it around again this week and make it 2-1 on the season. 4 guys. The parlay is plus 1586. So I'm going to put half a unit on that, and it is Rachaad White, Derrick Henry, Jordan Mason, Rashid Shaheed. So all guys that should have a great chance at getting in the end zone at just over plus 1,500. Great odds on that one. And then as I've done the first 2 weeks, I'm going to throw out a 2 touchdown parlay as well. These haven't hit yet, but you can't win if you don't bet it. So for a quarter of a unit, why not throw it out there? The odds on this one are plus 33,440. It's only 3 guys, Jordan Mason, Derrick Henry, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Plus 33,000. You got to have a shot at it. And then the last 2 things that I'm going to talk about are these 2 parlays right here. One of them is a much safer parlay, and then the other one is kind of a crazier type parlay that I thought would be a lot of fun to do. The first one is the longer one on the bottom, plus 818. I have half a unit on that one. I have half a unit on both of these, but Shaheed, 40 plus receiving yards, Chris Godwin, 50 plus receiving yards, Brock Bowers, 40 plus receiving yards, Lamar Jackson, 40 plus rushing yards, and finish it up with Kyler Murray over 31.5 rushing yards. I mean, I think it's one that could easily hit. So it should be a lot of fun to kind of sweat out during the games. And then the crazier parlay that I have at the top, plus 2360 on this one. Only 3 guys though. So we'll see what happens. But Chris Godwin over 65.5 receiving yards, Brock Bowers 70 plus receiving yards, and Lamar 80 plus rushing yards. They can get it done, just have to make it happen. So real quick video here for this. This is not the normal schedule that I will have going forward. So two shows back to back like this will not be happening very often, but just kind of a weird week, and I had to fit them in. So tomorrow morning before the college games start, I will be doing the Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football show. Keep an eye out for that. I'll be going over player props, touchdowns, my first touchdowns, which I am 2 wins back to back in Thursday Night Football and Monday Night Football. So off to a great start in that. Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe for me. It really helps me out a lot. Tell your friends to check out the videos and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.